we have for the plastic free, obviously, the products, packaging, or materials must be made of non-plastic materials. So glass, paper, metal, and all those materials must be fully recyclable. About the conventional plastic free category, these materials must be 100% bio-based. And at the same time, they must also be compostable, certified compostable or tested compostable. The certification process is the same as many other certification scheme. Whoever is familiar with the certification can recognize the typical phases of a certification. So from the application to the logo approval, once the company and the products are certified. So it starts with an application that will be processed by the local office to prepare an offer. Obviously, in the application, there will be a question about the company, the products, to identify the time and the best way to proceed with the audit in order to create an accurate quote for the work. If the offer is accepted, then an audit will be conducted to verify that the products, packaging, or materials under assessment are compliant to the standard requirements. The outcome of the audit will then be reviewed by a certifier that will also take the final decision about the certification. Once certified, and only once certified, a company will be allowed to use the suitable logo on the product, packaging, material certified. Obviously, this can happen only after receiving the official artwork approval. Another important topic that we wanted to touch within this presentation is about timescale and timing. So this new plastic-free certification has been officially launched in October, and Control Union will officially start certifying from January 2023. Why this delay? Because in the next 2 months, we will be fully dedicated to processing all the new application and all the inquiries that we will receive. And considering that we've already received many inquiries and many requests of application, it will take some time. We are expecting a backlog of about 4 weeks due to the launch of the new certification. Once we've sorted out this backlog, which will also be generated by the fact that we will try to prioritize the companies that were previously certified against the old plastic-free certification in order to allow them to keep a certain continuity in the making claim regarding the plastic-free nature of their product. After this period, we calculate that from the application to the certification, it will take normally 6 to 8 weeks. Once certified, the certificate has an annual validity from the date of issue, and it must be renewed before the expiration date to maintain the certified status. The ideal time frame for the planning of the annual audit is 2 months before the expiry date, to allow the necessary arrangement of dates and preparation. Obviously, it will be due diligence of the certified companies to engage with us to start the renewal process, but obviously Control Union usually sends reminders to make sure that whoever is certified is actually willing to continue and maintain the certified status, or actually to drop the certification. The plastic-free certification is different from the previous certification and has different requirements. All the companies that were previously certified will have to restart the process from the application and provide all the documents to demonstrate compliance to the new requirements. The certifying office will do everything in the power to give priority to the applicants that were previously certified. Obviously, we will try to support the companies that were previously certified in terms of documents that we already have. But considering that this is a new certification, the process will have to start from the beginning, from the application to the end. And last but not least, a new certification comes with a new logo. So here is the preview, the official preview of the logo of the plastic-free certification. That has now 6 different versions to allow claims for products, packaging, and materials made with naturally plastic-free materials like paper, wood, glass, or metal, or with conventional fossil fuel plastic-free materials, which are 100% bio-based and compostable. The rules to use the logo are quite simple. The plastic-free logo must be displayed in a way that all its parts are visible on the product or the packaging. Both size and position must ensure visibility. The standard will suggest preferred sizes, but obviously in case of special needs, every case could be evaluated independently. The logo can be black or white, ensuring that there is a sufficient contrast with the background to make all its parts visible. As mentioned before making any claims or using the logos, the certified companies will have to request an approval, providing the final artwork accompanied by an approval form. Any misuse of the logo or unauthorized claim will cause the immediate suspension of the certification. That will be then possible to reinstate once these issues resolved.
Thank you very much, Federica. So many of you have submitted some questions in advance. Thank you so much for that. Really, really helpful. So we're going to go through a few sort of frequently asked questions now. If anyone's got any additional questions that we haven't already covered in the presentation or aren't on this FAQ screen, please do type them into the chat box and we will go on to those after we've gone through these FAQs. So Federica, you've spoken a little bit about the previous version of the scheme and how it relates to this new scheme. But just for absolute clarity, because it's a question that we got several times, is this a continuation of the previous plastic-free scheme?
Thank you, Rose, to highlighting this particular detail. We have been very clear about this. This is not a continuation of the previous plastic-free certification. This is a totally new certification with a new standard with different requirements. Of course, Control Union had previously certified against the plastic-free certification owned by a Plastic Planet. But after they decided to dismiss the program, we tried to support all the companies that were already certified and were willing to carry on making claims on the products, identifying new partners for a new certification. What happened? We had many certified companies, many companies that were in the process of becoming certified and have their products assessed against the previous, the other plastic-free certification. But unfortunately, according to a decision taken by the standard owner, a Plastic Planet, this certification was dismissed, discontinued after a little bit more than 1 year. So Control Union is obviously aware of the importance of the certification for all its clients and all the companies that we work with. And therefore, we made an effort to identify some partners to work with, and in this case, plastic-free certification, benefit companies, and Race for Water that developed the standard in collaboration with Control Union and became the new the standard owner of this new certification that control union will continue to certify.
Thank you. And so why was the previous scheme discontinued?
The previous plastic-free certification was discontinued according to a Univa decision taken by the standard owner, A Plastic Planet. And after a little bit more than 1 year, Plastic Planet decided to focus entirely on their lobbying activities. In their own words, they believe that there was the potential for the administration of a certification program to compromise the impact of their work to drive the change through policy and legislation. In short, for A Plastic Planet to lobby relentlessly and effectively, there must be no suggestion that they could benefit through the certification program from the changes that they were lobbying to achieve. So they decided to invest all their time and to focus all their attention in their lobbying activity to be as efficient as possible and to prevent any sort of accusation that the lobbying, the kind of direction that we're trying um, to suggest to governments towards more sustainable material was actually in their own commercial interest. And this is the reason.
Okay, thank you. And again, you did touch on this somewhat when you were going through the process and timescales, but for absolute clarity, for those who were previously certified against the discontinued version of the plastic-free certification, do they need to reapply, and if so, when?
Yes, as we said, this is a different certification, different scheme. So whoever was certified, unfortunately, will have to reapply and restart the process from the beginning. As I said as well, we will try to support as much as we can this company, trying to facilitate. We understand that it's timely and it's an effort to go through an auditing process, especially when it already happened. But in this specific case, because obviously this certification is structured differently, obviously we cannot behave in a different way than to start over the certification process to guarantee equality and standardization in the process to all the companies that will decide to apply and become certified against this scheme. Obviously, we will try whenever possible to prioritize whoever was carrying the A Plastic Planet certification mark, because we want to ensure that whoever was making claims is able to continue making claim. There was A Plastic Planet gave a 1 year grace period after the expiry date of their certificate. So there was like a 1 year time of a non-assured claim that the companies that obtained the certification were allowed to make. But obviously, who wants to switch to the new certification, so a proper standard with like claims, can start at any time.
Thank you. And so how does this new version of the standard deal with families of materials, products, or packaging?
The new certification is not based on families anymore. Similarly to many other certification schemes, now the certified companies will be allowed to add as many products as they wish to the certificate during the annual validity. The products, packaging, or materials are completely different to each other. They will be assessed separately. Otherwise, an equivalency principle will be applied. And this means that the structure, the actual structure of the certification is changed. So there is no more a group. We will no more group the products within families. but we will assess the company will be certified, and if during this, while the certification is active and valid, they want to add more product, as long as they are assessed as compliant to the standard, they can be added to the scope certificate within the certification and the price that they paid. Obviously, whenever the scope changes drastically, so if there is like the addition of products that requires a lot of time for the assessment, this will obviously be considered, and most certainly, a new contract and offer letter will be issued. But as long as the certification covers the scope and there are like similar products, we can work with equivalencies. A practical example: we have packaging made with the same material in different sizes. Absolutely fine, there's not a problem. It can be considered in the same way. Same if a material has different thickness. When the most complex form of a packaging or a material is certified, all the simpler versions can be considered certified for equivalency.
Fantastic, thank you. And could you explain what the fee structure is for this certification?
Certainly. The fee structure is very simple, and again is aligned to the majority of the other certifications. So the annual cost of the certification will be made up of two parts. One is the audit and certification fee, which is calculated according to the actual time that will be necessary to conduct the audit, to complete the report, and finalize the certification. That will be calculated and decided by each local office, each local control union office. And then there is the license fee, which is the fee that control union will charge on behalf of the standard owner. And this license fee is fixed and will be charged once a year.
Fantastic. And will the standard documentation be available publicly?
A plastic-free certification benefit company and control union firmly believe in transparency. Therefore, the plastic-free standard will be publicly available, and we will inform all the interested parties as soon as it will be published and where to find it. So whoever is participating in these webinars or demonstrate interest in this new certification will receive information about where to find the standard as soon as it will be published either on the control union website or on a plastic-free certification website.
Great. And how does this standard relate to chain of custody?
This is a very interesting question, because this was another point that brought up some discussion. Obviously, this is a brand new certification. It is a product-focused certification, but in terms of assurance, we thought that a sort of chain of custody structure was the best way to ensure that the products were actually plastic-free throughout the supply chain. Obviously, we didn't want to start certifying exclusively the material, so to relegate just like the certification for the materials at the beginning of the supply chain. Therefore, we came up with a solution. So the plastic-free certification is structured as a hybrid chain of custody. Differently from the other chain of custody certification, plastic-free can be started at any point of the supply chain. Once started, though, it must be carried out until the finished product, including traders and brands, to make claims and use the logo on the finished product. If the chain of custody does not start at the material level, the applicant must be able to provide all the specification to ensure that the products comply with the standard. Practically speaking, it means that this is a chain of custody certification, but the beginning of the chain of custody doesn't have to coincide with the beginning of the supply chain. But whoever starts the supply chain is responsible to demonstrate that whatever happened before in the supply chain is traceable, and we can have like the full disclosure of the specification of the material used for the packaging or the product. And from that point on, in order to make claims, whoever owns the certified material, products, or packaging will have to be certified in order to make claim. And that applies all the way through the final stages of the supply chain, which means traders and brands included.
Fantastic, thank you. And how does this certification relate to other plastic certifications?
The plastic-free certification is unique and has nothing in common with other plastic-related certification. It's part of a group of certification, which is promoted by Control Union to tackle the plastic issue from different angles. These plastic-related certification, for example, include GRS and RCS, which are the Global Recycle Standard or the Recycle Claim Standard for recycled material, or OBP, ocean-bound plastic, for products made with plastic removed from the environment before ending in the ocean, and many other. Control Union has a, a specific interest in the plastic-free in the plastic issue, sorry. And therefore, we have a group of certification that allow any sort of company to tackle the plastic issue from different angles, and to ensure that they have that they enhance their sustainability policies in different ways, either relying on the use of recycled materials or the use of, for example, plastic removed from the environment before reaching the ocean, or plastic free. So it's a group of certification, different angles. Also, Rose, allow me to disclose that Control Union and the plastic team will soon organize a webinar to introduce all these certifications, so everyone will be informed about this package of certification and understand if there is which is the most applicable to every specific single case.
Yeah, so that that webinar will be going ahead in early 2023. And as somebody who has registered for this webinar, you will automatically get invited to join that webinar should you wish to. So the final one of our frequently asked questions before we go on to the ones that have come out of this specific session, does the standard include any elements of social compliance?
And the answer is yes. In line with the global necessity to also regulate the social aspect throughout the supply chain, the plastic-free certification has introduced specific requirements for legal and social compliance. This is obviously not the main focus of the certification, but we all thought that it was particularly important to have a dedicated section of the standard related to the social aspects. Obviously, it's not an in-depth part as, for example, the GRS, the Global Recycle Standard, which has like specific social requirements, or bespoke certification like SEDEX, which are specifically and exclusively for social aspects. But we thought it was nice to include a part to at least ensure that minimum wage and the labor right were respected.
Fantastic, thank you. So we've had a number of questions come through on the chat within this session. If anybody's got any additional questions, please do feel free to type them in, but we're going to address some of those now. So one of our audience members has asked, what defines plastic, and how does this standard deal with additives or additional elements such as dyes, glues, and inks?
So as I said, like the definition of plastic is very dated. So, and it doesn't cover all the innovation that the new technologies and new materials have put in place in the last decades, or like the last few years. So um, in this specific case, obviously, this is why we used conventional plastic free, because the main aim of the standard was to inform people that within a product, a packaging or a material, there are like no fossil fuel based plastic. So still polymers, because they might be still polymers as per definition of plastic, but at least they have a bio-based, 100% bio-based, um, they're made 100% of bio-based materials, and they are compostable, so more sustainable than the fossil fuel-based plastic. Related to other substances, obviously all of them should be at least conventional plastic free and compostable, unless there are no feasible alternative on the market, or if, for example, for it's demonstrable that for example, like food safety needs, specific, for example, glues must be used. So whenever there are like higher standard, like for example, like food safety, obviously a small percentage is allowed, but these are exception. And on top of it, obviously, whenever, for example, like glues are used, the packaging or the product or the material must anyway be 100% compostable or recyclable, for example, for paper.
Fantastic, thank you. We've had another question about the difference between a plastic-free product versus plastic-free packaging, and can the packaging be certified if the product inside is made of plastic?
Yes, the answer is yes. This is why we have a 6 version of the logo. So the one that, like for example, the one that we see in the slide right now that only said plastic free, it means that everything. So for example, if this logo appears on a packaging, it means that both the packaging and the content are plastic free. Obviously, because one of the biggest use of plastic is in the packaging industry. We have a specific, and sometimes who produces packaging is not responsible of the content of the packaging. We allowed these companies to have the possibility of become certified and use the packaging, the plastic-free packaging logo. That means that the packaging is guaranteed to be plastic-free or conventional plastic-free. Obviously, these, because it's specified and we want it to be very clear. So if it's specified packaging, it means that the content is not guaranteed. The part that is certified is the packaging. And same with the material. The material obviously is will be like raw materials. So no on product logo can be used on the material, just like on the marketing, obviously, to promote and sell them.
Thank you. A question about somebody who was certified under the previous iteration of a plastic-free standard. For those who are currently using the previous logo and have products that are printed with that logo on, what is the grace period for them continuing to use that before they need to switch to this new certification scheme?
Whoever was certified against the previous plastic-free certification owned by a Plastic Planet received a letter from a Plastic Planet specifying the terms for the use of the logo. So it says a Plastic Planet decided to allow the companies that became certified to use their logo for 1 year after the expiry date of the certificate. Obviously, Control Union has like no involvement and no responsibility in that. It's just like 100% Plastic Planet decision, because obviously after the expiry date of a certificate, it means that that product is not actually covered by any certification, so there is no assurance behind it. But that was a Plastic Planet decision, their logo, their certification, their decision. So at the moment, whoever is certified, was certified against the previous plastic-free certification, is allowed to use the logo for 1 year after the expiry date of the certificate. After that, obviously, they cannot. But this is not preventing whoever was certified with the previous scheme to start applying with the new one and then switch the logo to avoid any gaps after the grace period.
Fantastic. Another question from somebody who works in an organisation that produces some products which are made of plastic-free materials and others that are made of plastic. Can that company apply specifically for the products that are plastic-free, or is it not relevant for them because they do manufacture some plastics?
No, obviously, the certificate is for a company, but on the certificate there is a list of product. So of course there are companies that have to satisfy different market needs and have, for example, lines of product which are made with conventional plastic and other lines which comply with our standard, with the standard, and they can definitely become certified, but obviously the certificate will exclusively cover the products that are compliant to the standard. So yes, if a company produces both plastic and plastic-free products, they can still become certified.
Fantastic, thank you. You talked a little bit about the fee structure and how they work. One of our audience has asked if we can actually confirm the annual fees up front. Is that something that we can say now, or do they need to put in an application?
No, to confirm the fees, it's important to complete the application. Obviously, we rely on many local offices all over the world. So every office will contract according to the actual time that will be needed. So obviously in the application form, there will be all the necessary information to calculate the time necessary to assess the company and the products, or whatever the certification scope should cover. And therefore the certification, the audit and certification fee is calculated accordingly to this. So there is not a fixed audit and certification fee, while the annual license fee will be fixed and will be obviously disclosed along with the certification document, the standard document, as soon as it will be published.
Fantastic, thank you. Another question relating to the chain of custody issue. In order to be plastic-free certified, does the manufacturer need to be certified, or can the certification start with the brand or trader?
We said that specifically that we came up with this hybrid chain of custody exactly to solve this problem. So the certification can start at any point of the supply chain, as long as from that point on, in order to make a claim on a finished product as you end up on the market, everyone that owns the product or the material or a part must be certified in order to carry the claim. The chain of custody can start at any point of the supply chain, but this means that whoever starts is responsible to demonstrate that the product, packaging, or material used is plastic-free, and therefore submit all the specification, all the technical documents needed to assess that product, packaging, or material is actually plastic-free. Therefore, it means that they will have to go back in the supply chain all the way back to the material and provide the document to prove that that's actually plastic-free or conventional plastic-free.
Thank you. And do we have a list of accepted materials?
No, we don't have a list. This is the beginning of the certification. We don't have a list of accepted material. materials, we will start assessing, certifying. If we see that there are like recurrent needs or questions, we might think about putting together, obviously in collaboration with the standard owner, and we could think about putting together a list of materials. But at the moment, no, there is no list. So whoever wants to apply needs to find a suitable material.
Fantastic, thank you. And how does this product relate to something? Sorry, how does this certification relate to things like GRS, the Global Recycled Standard? And if a product is made from certified recycled material, does that count as plastic free?
As we said, it has nothing to do with recycled. So if it's recycled plastic, it's still plastic. So this is a completely different certification. So if a product is recycled, can be certified as recycled. If a product is plastic free, it can be certified as plastic free. So recycled plastic, still not acceptable. Obviously, if it's recycled paper, it would automatically fall in the plastic free category. So obviously, yes, a recycled metal as well, but recycled plastic, because it's plastic, no matter if it's recycled or not, is not acceptable.
Okay, thank you. And can we explain whether, sorry, can we confirm that plastic packaging material goes into the category of single-use plastic?
Well, if it's a different sort of thing. As we said, the discussion about plastic, the definition of plastic is outdated, and there are like many products that are plastic free, that are conventional plastic free, that might still be considered as plastic. If this question is refers to the single-use plastic directive, the European directive, and conventional plastic free, it means that there are like no fossil fuel inputs, so it is not conflicting. But obviously, it doesn't have like it doesn't have much to do with that. So it's a different thing.
Thank you. And given that this certification has come from a gap in the market as a result of the previous plastic-free certification being discontinued, is there a risk that this new certification could be discontinued?
Obviously, Control Union, unfortunately, has no power in that. We are a third-party certification body. We are in partnership with the certification, the standard owner, which is a plastic-free certification benefit company. And obviously, if in 1 year, 2 year, they decide to discontinue certification, we won't really have much saying in that, because they own the certification, it's theirs, so they can do whatever they want with that. Obviously, our interest and plastic-free certification benefit companies' interest is to create something that will last. They are, as Giovanni said, the company was born, the association was born with the intention of, fighting the abuse, the misuse of plastic. So the interest of Control Union and a plastic-free certification benefit company is to have a standard that lasts. And obviously, because the more it lasts, the more it becomes popular, the more is recognized, and the more useful it is for also the final user, so the people that goes and buy something with a recognizable logo. So obviously the interest is to maintain it for as long as possible.
Thank you. Giovanni, if your audio has recovered, if there's anything you'd like to add to that as the standard owner and your commitment to maintaining the scheme?
Yes, thank you, Rose. Yes, I just wanted to add that currently we are developing collaborations with academicals and researchers with
Unfortunately, Giovanni, your audio is not working. I don't know if you're getting the same weather that we're getting here, but that might have something to do with it. But thank you, and we can follow up on that from a plastic-free benefit certification company's perspective. I think we have covered all of the questions we had, unless anybody has got anything final. And we've just had one more come through. Materials that are certified compostable, like PVS or PBAT, and break down into non-toxic biomass, but they are fossil fuel based. Will they no longer be acceptable under this new certification?
That is correct. So we had to make this decision. So in order to remain as close as possible to the plastic-free principle, we struggle to find a way to identify fossil fuel-based plastic and define them as conventional plastic-free, which is a definition which is accepted by the European Union, for example. It's commonly used to define fossil fuel-based from bio-based plastic materials. So we had to become a bit stricter. So to be stricter and decide that to be certified as conventional plastic-free, it was 100% conventional plastic-free. So no fossil fuel inputs, even if it's compostable. So even if it's compostable, if it's demonstrate that it's not toxic, in order to maintain clarity, we had to make it more stringent, more strict, and exclude completely any fossil fuel based inputs. So for the conventional plastic-free certified materials, they must be 100% bio-based, certified, tested, and we will obviously ask for a document, an official document attesting that. So 100% bio-based and no fossil fuel and compostable.
Okay. Fantastic.
My apologies for the connection. I'm sorry. Thank you, Federica, for going on.
No problem, Giovanni. In case you have anything to add, we will be happy to make like a follow-up email, to send a follow-up email to all the participants with your contribution, with like if you want to say anything.
Absolutely. So that's all the time that we have now. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you and to have all of your questions.
Thank you, everyone.